Lauren Miller. I'm a senior here at Wake Forest. I'm looking at this thing I've kind of dubbed visual concision when we're reading online and with computer-mediated communication. Nicholas Carr was someone that we read an article from 2008 that said what the internet is doing to our brains, where he was kind of sharing some of his own web browsing behaviors, how he jumps around a lot, and says that the way he navigates the internet is chipping away at his capacity for concentration and contemplation, and that his mind now expects to take in information the way the internet distributes it, in a swiftly moving stream of particles. So my study kind of looks at the social exigency, what we expect when we're going to be reading any kind of text online and what we want to see, and how that might affect us socially and academically. Basically the same question, is reading online damaging our mental endurance? We talked a lot about in this class if text messaging is affecting literacy in children and young people and students. And while there wasn't like this alarming sense that children aren't going to be able to read anymore or use textisms in any academic setting, I've kind of found, I'm wondering if this new habits of reading short snippets online is going to change the way we study and are able to read and stuff. So my paper originally looked at Facebook and a blog called My Life is Average, but I realized that since My Life is Average is a blog and it's textually based, each entry is kind of basically an anecdote, and there was enough text, it kind of worked against my argument. So I looked at Pinterest, which is a recently very popular website that is like a virtual bulletin board. So you log in and post your favorite things, like a picture of a dessert or something, and then your friends can click on it and get the recipe. And I found that it's very popular among college students. Pinterest started in 2010, so it's been going for a little over 2 years now. And as of April, there were 11.1 million active registered users, and so the growth of that in only 2 years is really rapid. And then Facebook, as we all know, which came around 2004, 2005, had a lot of rapid growth. And to kind of compare this to our social and academic lives, I kind of wanted to say that Facebook and Pinterest are to socializing as watching a movie is to reading the book. So it's this shortcut into friendships and receiving knowledge from the internet, as opposed to doing things the old-fashioned way. And there's some pretty interesting Facebook statistics I came across. By the end of March 2012, there were 901 million monthly active users, 526 million daily active users. And actually, I think 85% of users were outside of the United States and Canada, which I thought was really interesting since they were started here. There's 125 billion friend connections, which is amazing because given how many friends each people say they really have would never add up to that number. And then what I really want to focus on here and out are the photos, which really kind of work with my idea of visual concision. It's a kind of a snap, like, appearance of information that we're getting about our friends, and we're not having to do a lot of reading to get to know them. So there are over 300 million photos uploaded per day when they were tracking it in a 3-month period. That was the average number. So when you log on your Facebook, I've noticed that the homepage is dominated with pictures. Text has really decreased since Facebook really started. And I've kind of realized that Facebook has understood this social exigency, that we're in demand of pictures and visual aids and things like that. And so now these, the pink picture, the memes are becoming really popular. And then this new timeline feature that Facebook offers has a huge cover photo, like a big banner on your profile. So basically you have a profile picture and then you have this big cover photo that basically is supposed to sum up who you are as a person in one picture, which I think is really interesting because that's mine. That's of Giverny outside Paris, but I don't really know what that's supposed to say about me. And I just discovered this today at lunch, that 2 weeks ago, Facebook paid $1 billion for the acquisition of a program called Instagram, which shares purely pictures. You have friends and you can have it on your phone and everything. And what it does is it takes your personally taken photographs and kind of turns them into photography by using special color effects, and you can make it black and white, or you can be grainy or really sharp or anything like that. And so I thought that was interesting because Instagram, as of yet, hasn't really made much revenue. So Facebook bought it for way more than it's worth because they realized that its users there's this social exigency for pictures and visual concision. Also, people are, at least my friends in my study, are showing what happens to them rather than telling us. There's no, as you can see, there's no little anecdote like there would be on a blog or writing on someone's wall. Like, you know, the Starbucks lady thought my name was with instead of Liz. Isn't that funny? You know, this happened to me today. Instead, it's just people are communicating with photographs. So I looked at 50 textual posts and 50 pictures, and actually the textual posts were kind of hard to find on Facebook. I wasn't counting them if there was a picture associated, and I found that almost all the pictures were liked at one point, and then only 29 out of 50 of plain text posts were liked once or more. So there's this tendency, there's this appeal for the visual concision of a picture. You can pick up information about your friends without having to do a lot of guesswork or reading or interpreting. So what I concluded from this analysis was that there is a new social exigency for the visual. We're wanting to see more and more pictures and know more and more about people, and we're getting to know more people, but on a superficial level. So I think there are several different possible implications of this new trend toward the visual on things like Facebook and Pinterest. As a prospective teacher myself, I'm a little worried that just this like deluge of pictures is going to make reading less necessary. And for learners, it's like the little baby looking at the computer. I don't know, I feel like Facebook has kind of turned into like this adult picture book of reading. And yes, it is a break from an academic setting, which is kind of the plus of Facebook, because you get on and you just kind of zone out. But I'm also worried about like what Nicholas Carr was saying, that it's training our minds to click around and go to the next page, go to the next picture, want to know more and more and more. And so we sort of have this idea that we really know our Facebook friends because we see every little detail of their lives. And with Twitter and all those other social outlets, but we're not really communicating with them. In Naomi Barron's book, Always On, she's a contemporary linguist and scholar, she was saying how one of her graduate students told her that they really like how they can just write happy birthday on someone's Facebook wall, and that counts as keeping in touch with them. So like a high school friend or something. So as I'm about to graduate, I'm a little bit concerned that I'm going to be thinking that way, because I think that way too. You know? So personal relationships jeopardized. I don't know if you can continue a real relationship after college with just these little snippets of text or liking a picture. It's just, we're not calling each other up on the phone anymore. And we talked about that a lot, Naomi Barron's text and just in class in general. And I think that's about it. Also, Naomi Barron talked about this presentation of the self with Facebook and it being our best day. Basically, your Facebook page is supposed to present the best you, and it's kind of an appearance versus reality. So are we thinking in more superficial terms? And is that going to be bad? So we've got a mental shift with online reading, and we also have a social shift. And it's all kind of converging in this thing that I'm calling visual consumption.